Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you, as always, for joining today's live stream. So, for today's topic, it is a little bit different, which I've kind of been saying that every week at this point. But for today's topic, we're going to be talking about accessory exercises for strength gains. But before I do start talking about that, I do want to mention my website, bponlinefitness.com. On there, you can find a ton of information as it relates to online fitness coaching. You can also sign up for the email newsletter there that I offer. You can also access the fitness blog where I have a ton of free content on various topics related to fitness and nutrition. So there's a ton of different ways that you can, get free access to resources that come with fitness and nutrition. So definitely check that out. Again, I've got it at the top of the screen here. It's bponlinefitness.com. So I just wanted to mention that. And with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get started with talking about today's topic, which is accessory exercises for strength gains. So, what is accessory exercises? So, accessory exercises are supplementary movements performed alongside primary compound lifts to target specific muscle groups and address weaknesses or imbalances in strength training routines. Unlike compound lifts, which involve multi joint movements and muscle groups, accessory exercises typically isolate one or two muscle groups to provide additional volume and stimulation. So, when we're talking about accessory exercises themselves, they're primarily focused on isolating a muscle. So, compound lifts, let's sort of define exactly the difference between what a compound lift and an isolation lift is. So, with compound based workouts, you're basically performing a workout that is targeting multiple muscle groups all at once. So, an example of this would primarily be something like a squat. A deadlift could also be included in that. Another thing would be like a bench press. A lot of times, usually barbell based workouts are more, leaning into the compound lift territory. But when it comes to isolation exercises, they are completely opposite. So when you think of isolation exercises, you're primarily thinking of any exercise that isolates a specific muscle, such as bicep curls. You've got maybe like tricep dips, that would be another one, tricep extensions. Really, anything that's targeting a specific muscle is going to be isolation exercise, whereas compound is using multiple muscles all at once. So when we're talking about accessory exercises, we're primarily talking about movements that are more focused on isolating a specific muscle rather than compound movement, which uses multiple muscle groups. So, targeting specific muscle groups. So, accessory exercises allow individuals to focus on particular muscle groups that may not be adequately engaged during compound lifts. So, for example, while the bench press primarily targets the chest, triceps, and shoulders, accessory exercises like tricep extensions or chest flies can isolate and further develop these muscle groups. So, basically, what I'm saying here is that it's best to have a combination of both types of workouts. So, again, even though you have a bench press and it's targeting multiple muscle groups all at once, it's targeting the chest, the triceps, and the shoulders, you still want to particularly isolate that specific muscle so that you are fully engaging it and not just using, you know, a bunch of compound movements. You are isolating that specific muscle in order to properly engage it more. Now, it's not to say that compound workouts aren't beneficial. They are still beneficial, but it does help to use the accessory exercises to, complement both types of workout methods. So, muscle imbalances and weaknesses. This is another benefit when it comes to using these accessory workouts or these more isolated base workouts. So, muscle imbalances and weaknesses refer to disparities in strength size or function between opposing or synergistic muscle groups in the body. Addressing these imbalances and weaknesses is crucial for improving overall strength, stability, and movement efficiency. So, muscle imbalances and weaknesses can manifest in various ways, such as one muscle group being significantly weaker or smaller than its counterpart, or certain muscles being underdeveloped compared to others. Common examples can include weak glutes, tight hip flexors, or underdeveloped upper back muscles. Accessory workouts allow you to select exercises specifically designed to address these imbalances and weaknesses. For example, if you have weak glutes, exercises like hip thrusts, glute bridges, or Bulgarian split squats can help strengthen and activate the glute muscles. So, this is another benefit that comes with doing more isolation based exercises or these accessory based workouts is if you have a imbalance in a particular area or if you have a particular weakness in a specific muscle, like for example in the biceps, like for example the triceps, maybe it's in your quads and your legs, maybe it could be in your calves. The best thing you can do is perform workouts that primarily isolate that specific muscle. So, like I've sort of mentioned before, there's a bunch of different workouts, when it comes to isolating the biceps, and these can include bicep curls. These Another thing too is like when you're focusing on, the triceps, tricep extensions, tricep dips, anything of that sort. And then when you're focusing on quads, this can be a little bit more tricky, but there are various more machine extension based workouts that isolate particular parts of the leg. That could be another great, more isolated accessory based workout. So, another thing too, hamstrings, there's also an isolation based machine that you can do with the hamstring, which is like a leg extension machine that primarily targets that area. One thing to keep in mind, since I just mentioned machines, is that machines are very beneficial when it comes to isolating a particular muscle. Now, when I'm talking about strength machines, these are the machines that you likely see, like you've got the bicep curl machine, you've got the tricep machines. Like there's a bunch of various machines that you can find in gyms, and these are more for people who are more beginner based. That's not to say that these cannot be beneficial for somebody who lifts all the time, but with these particular types of machines, they can help to isolate those particular weak spots. So, and another thing too with the machine based workouts is you do kind of have a limited range of motion. So, it is it's like I mentioned, it's beneficial for beginners because you are not using a wide range of motion. You're very limited to what you can use because you're in this stable machine. So it's likely that you won't get injured when you're using strength training based machines. But they are good options, especially when you want to isolate a particular muscle. A lot of times those machines are not very, compound based. They are more isolating types of workouts. So sort of keep that in mind that those can be beneficial too as well. So isolation and activation. Accessory exercises often target specific muscle groups with isolation movements, allowing you to focus on activating and strengthening the weaker muscles without being overshadowed by stronger muscles. This can help rebalance the strength and function of opposing muscle groups. Activation exercises are designed to engage and wake up specific muscles, especially those that are underactive or have poor neuromuscular connection. These exercises help improve the mind muscle connection, enhancing the ability to recruit and activate the target muscles during more compound movements. Now, I know that there's a few terms there that I just mentioned, and underactive is one that I do want to sort of highlight. So there are two different terms when it comes to specific muscles or muscle imbalances, and this is known as overactive and underactive. So basically, an underactive muscle is a muscle that may be working with another muscle but is not performing enough. Whereas overactive muscle is performing too much to perform a specific motion. So a lot of times that's where you get your muscle imbalances is a lot of muscle groups have various muscles that sort of work together to perform a specific movement where one muscle may be underactive and not performing enough, or maybe one muscle may be overactive and, you know, performing too much of a movement. So that's basically what that means when we're talking about underactive as well as overactive. Even though overactive is not mentioned here, that is another term when it comes to muscle imbalances. So I just wanted to mention that itself. But again, this sort of goes back to what we just discussed. Those oscillation movements are going to help with, any of those weaker based muscles, when you're targeting those with oscillation based exercises. So, exercise selection, compound exercises involve multi joints and muscle groups working together, while oscillation exercises target a single muscle group. Compound movements such as squats, deadlifts, bench presses, and overhead presses are highly effective for building overall strength as they recruit a large number of muscles simultaneously. However, oscillation exercises can also be valuable for targeting specific muscle weaknesses or imbalances. So, prioritize exercises that mimic real life movements and activities whenever possible. Functional movements not only improve overall strength, but also enhance coordination, stability, and mobility. Examples include squats, lunges, deadlifts, and rows, which engage muscles in a way that translates to better performance in daily activities and sports. Choose exercises that offer room for progression over time. Progression is essential for continuously challenging the muscles and stimulating strength gains. Look for exercises where you can easily adjust variables such as weight reps, sets, or range of motion to progressively overload the muscles and drive adaptation. Again, with these, you want to find primarily exercises that mimic daily life movements. And then you also want to keep in mind that you want to progressively overload in order to help with, gaining more strength and gaining more muscle. So programming and progression. So here's somewhat of an example of a progression of these particular workouts. So when you have a workout plan, keep in mind that it can sort of vary depending on what your goal is. So frequency, 2 to 3 times per week, depending on overall training volume and recovery capacity. That's sort of the, sort of main range of how many workouts you should do a week. The volume, you want to aim for 2 to 4 sets of 8 to 15 reps for each exercise. Intensity, use weight that allows you to perform the desired number of reps with good form while still challenging yourself. Rest between sets. You want to rest for at least 60 to 90 seconds between sets to ensure adequate recovery. So again, this is just a general guideline of basically getting started with a routine that's going to involve using these accessory workouts as well as your compound workouts. So, if you are getting started with the routine, sort of keep these variables in mind. 2 to 3 times per week is a great start. 2 to 4 sets, 8 to 15 reps are a great start when you're doing volume. Intensity, again, you want to use weight that allows you to perform that desired number of reps with good form. When it comes to weight, what I always say is really try to master the weight that, that challenges you enough, but is also comfortable for you to lift. And once you basically overcome lifting that weight, then that's when you can go into progressing into the next sort of weight range. So sort of keep that in mind, is use a weight that you're comfortable with lifting, but that's also challenging enough to help with, muscle growth. And then rest. Rest is another important thing and something you really should keep in mind. And I don't think a lot of people really keep rest in mind between sets, but the more that you have adequate rest between your sets, the more you're going to be able to perform your specific range of reps. Because if you let your body sort of get exhausted after a set, then you're not going to be able to perform enough, reps in your rep range, like that 8 to 15. So you may run out of breath just trying to get to, at least 8 when you could be doing more. So keep in mind that adequate rest is really important as well. So increase weight once you can comfortably perform the maximum number of reps for all sets with good form. Increase the weight by small increments. This is really important. 2.5 to 5 pounds for upper body exercises. Increase reps or sets. If increasing weight isn't feasible, aim to add an additional rep or set to each exercise before progressing to heavier weights. Variation. Rotate accessory exercises every 4 to 6 weeks to prevent adaptations and stimulate new muscle growth. Tempo training. Experiment with tempo variations. This could be slow eccentric movement, slow lifting, pausing at the bottom of the rep for a specific amount of time, increasing time under tension, and promote muscle recovery. So there's various different ways that you can help with, building muscle while also being able to isolate particular muscles and helping muscle imbalance. So just keep all of these different methods in mind. Increasing your weight, increasing your reps or sets if you cannot increase the weight. Do various different exercises every 4 to 6 weeks in order to prevent any plateaus, and then change the tempo of your training. Do slower motion. Maybe do a pause at the end of your reps. There's a ton of different things that you can do that can allow for more challenge in your routine, but also help with, any imbalances you have in those weaknesses. So sample accessory workout, sample upper body accessory workouts. This could include tricep dips for 3 sets of 10 reps, dumbbell shoulder press, 3 sets of 12 reps, bent over dumbbell row, 3 sets of 10 reps per arm, and bicep curl, 3 sets of 12 reps, and then lateral raises, 3 sets of 15 reps. A sample lower body accessory workout could include Bulgarian split squats, 4 sets of 10 reps per leg, Romanian deadlifts, 3 sets of 12 reps, leg press, 4 sets of 10 reps, calf raises, 3 sets of 15 reps, and then hamstring curls, 3 sets of 12 reps. So you can likely see, sort of the rep range in there and the amount of sets. Keep in mind too that this is not necessarily a full-fledged workout plan. When you do any particular workout, you do want to have a warm-up and a cool-down phase. This is very important so that we can prevent any, injuries primarily, and to help that your body be prepared for the workouts that you're going to do. So for example, for the upper body accessory workouts, you would want to start out your workout with any particular sort of, maybe like a foam roller exercise that stretches the upper body, maybe the back, the biceps, the triceps. Any sort of exercise is going to stretch the upper body. That's what you want to focus on for your warm-up. But also at the end of your exercise, you do want to do a cool down. So the warm-up is primarily focused more on dynamic based movements, more on, basically like, as a warm-up. You got like maybe light cardio to start out, maybe any sort of, active stretch that targets the upper body. And then what you want to do at the end of your workout is do maybe lighter stretches that aren't, the cool down is all about, getting your body back to a normal rhythm. So a lot of static stretches are more beneficial for the end of your workout, but just keep in mind the active stretches, your warm up, and then you go into your workout, which is all of these exercises here. But you also want to go into your cool down phase in order to get your body back to a normal pace, and that's basically the end of your workout. So I just want to mention that this isn't necessarily a full-fledged routine, but this is an example of the main resistance training part of a sample accessory workout. So injury prevention in accessory based workouts is crucial for maintaining your overall fitness and avoiding setbacks. that could hinder your progress. Accessory exercises typically target smaller muscle groups or provide support to primary muscle groups engaged in compound exercises. Correct form is essential to prevent injuries during any workout. Pay close attention to your technique, especially when performing accessory exercises that may involve intricate movements or target smaller muscle groups. Start with lighter weights to master the form before increasing resistance. Avoid the temptation to lift heavy weights right from the start. Gradually increase the intensity and volume of your accessory exercises over time to allow your muscles, tendons, and ligaments to adapt and strengthen gradually. Rapid increases in weight or intensity can increase the risk of overuse injuries. So I know this is pretty much, a lot of this is self-explanatory. Of course, you want to make sure that you perform your workouts with correct form. You want to make sure that you are not lifting heavy weights in order to prevent injury. Just keep that in mind, especially with accessory-based workouts, because we're isolating muscles. You do want to start with smaller weight because you're targeting a particular muscle group instead of using multiple muscles all at once. So that muscle may be weak. So it's best to really start small and then gradually progress up, as I mentioned previously, with progressive overload. So keep these in mind. Again, just try to focus on basically focusing on that correct form to help prevent injuries. Pay close attention to your technique as much as possible and avoid just trying to lift too heavy. And then from there, once you get comfortable with that weight, just gradually increase. Alrighty guys, so that's pretty much all I have for you today. Again, I hope that you found this helpful and valuable. I hope that it gives you some insight on what you can do with your workout routine and what you should change when it comes to your workouts. Maybe you're not doing isolation-based exercises, and this may give you an incentive to try isolation-based exercises. Again, isolation exercises are all about targeting a specific muscle. You want to think of those bicep curl-based workouts, tricep dips, tricep extensions, anything like calf extension, anything of that are going to be primarily isolating that particular muscle. And again, look for strength training based machines at the gym. A lot of times those are more focused on isolating muscles rather than targeting multiple muscle groups all at once. So keep that in mind. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. If you want to learn more about online coaching, you can visit my website, bponlinefitness.com. Ton of resources on there, ton of information that you can find on there to learn about various different fitness and nutrition advice, as well as you can sign up for my email newsletter. You can also schedule your consultation there, a free consultation with me to discuss your fitness goals and see if online fitness is something you would be interested in. Again, definitely check out my website. I always try to keep it updated weekly. I always add to my fitness blog at least weekly as well. So definitely look at that when you go to the website. But with all that being said, guys, thank you again for taking the time to watch my live stream. I do have another live stream next week at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday. I will be talking a little bit about nutrition in this next live stream. So definitely watch out for that. But with all that being said, guys, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream.